Hey there, boils and ghouls. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. This is a really, really good day for me. I am so happy. Um, I'm just really happy. I haven't seen this movie in years. You guys have already, you know what it's about. I'm getting ready to show you in just a second, but my God, I am so happy. I haven't watched this. I always remember liking this movie. I haven't seen it in years, and to finally see it again and to see it on 4K, and not to mention too that there are two cuts of the movie. You guys already know which one I'm talking about because it's in the title of the video. We're talking about William Friedkin's 1987. I wouldn't say true crime, but it definitely feels like a true crime movie. The movie is called Rampage. And bless the folks at Kino Lorber. We got this on 4K. And I could not be happier. In case if anybody's wondering, it's like, didn't you get the slipcover? Yeah, I got the slipcover. It's already put in a protective case. But I am so happy about this. Now, this was a pretty controversial movie. I remember, like, way back in the day. Yeah, the movie was shot and everything. It was supposed to come out in 1987, but then it was shelved for 5 years, and it was recut and then put out in 1992. And it was on VHS, and I never saw that. I don't ever remember getting on VHS. I remember watching on cable. It was either Cinemax or HBO. I couldn't remember which, but I know that's how I saw it. I saw this movie on cable. And I remember reading so much about it in Fangoria magazine and, just William Friedkin, doing another horror movie. And this movie definitely is horrific. It's a very bleak film. But it's a very, there's quite a bit to this. There is some stuff to unpack in this movie. There's more to it than meets the eye. I mean, I know probably the cover just makes you think it's like some kind of, psycho killer slasher, detective cop film or whatever else. I know it kind of gives you that impression, but there are some layers to this movie. But just, I remember seeing it and I remember, it was on VHS and in video stores back in the day, but I never rented it on VHS. Then for a long time, I think I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me on this. I think that maybe like Paramount maybe put out like a DVD of this and it was like available for like all of 5 minutes and it just disappeared, gone out of print, just was never seen. And then years and years passed and we got nothing. There was just nothing about this movie. And then finally, Kino Lorber, announced that they're going to put this out on 4K. And I was just gobsmacked. We see that Kino Lorber is definitely going through the library of William Friedkin movies. They've done like Rules of Engagement, The Hunted, and stuff like that. So yeah, they're definitely working through the William Friedkin library. Bless their souls for doing that. Because we finally got this one here. I was just so happy to be able to see this movie again. And this is what makes movie collecting so great, is when you can get to do this kind of thing. When, you see a movie like you saw it as a kid. It could be hit or miss, because sometimes you see like a movie when you're younger and then some years pass and then, you get the chance to revisit the movie. And then, sometimes it's, as good as you remember it. Sometimes it's worse than you possibly remember it. And every now and then it could be a little bit better than you remember it. But yeah, I was just so happy that we got this. And I was able to see it again in beautiful 4K. Of course, it's Kino Lorber, so, not the most imaginative disc art in the world. Same exact thing, you got the Blu-ray there, 4K there. No reversible sleeve this time. So it's very, very basic, very, very simple. But you do get a couple of bonus features. You got the two cuts of the film. You have basically the theatrical cut. When it was finally released in theaters, 5 minutes of the movie were cut out, and it was released at 91 minutes. And you have the restored cut, which is 96 minutes. And I was so happy. I never got to see the restored cut, until now. And we got audio commentaries by film historians Howard S. Berger and Nathaniel Thompson on both cuts. Where's the Blood interview with actor Alex MacArthur, who does a really, really good job of playing the killer Charles Reese in this movie. Psychotic Vampire interview with true crime writer Harold Schechter, and theatrical trailer. I believe that this, again, somebody probably proved me wrong on this, but I do believe that this movie is, well, it's based on, Friedkin wrote the script. He wrote the script, directed the movie, but it's based on a novel. Does it say here? Based on, no. Oh, I almost forgot. Yes, music score by Ennio Morricone. So, but yeah, it. I think that this story is loosely based on the story of Richard Chase, who was a serial murderer who went around killing people because he believed that he was being poisoned and that he needed to drink blood. Can't remember exactly. Yeah, I think it was he was poisoned. He felt that he was poisoned and needed to drink blood, or he felt like his blood was being drained from him. He had to drink more blood to replenish it, so he would go around and murder people. But yeah, I do believe that this is it's a little bit loosely based on the Richard Chase true crime story. And you have Alex MacArthur playing Charles Reese, who that's his thing. He's going around, he's killing people and drinking their blood because he believes that, he's being poisoned. He needs to replenish his blood, to keep going. And you have Michael Biehn in here, right there. And Michael Bihn's really good in this movie. I remember being really young and, seeing this movie for the first time. I was like, oh my God, it's weird to see Michael Biehn in a movie that's not a James Cameron movie. So, but no, Michael Bihn's actually really, really good in this movie. So you have, the character Charles Reese. He gets caught, and Michael Bihn's character he's a lawyer working for, the prosecuting attorney and everything. And he's put in charge of handling the case. And when I said that there are some layers to this movie, I mean it, because there's, there is some pretty big social commentary in this movie regarding the death penalty, whether the death penalty is wrong, whether it's right, whether it's moral, immoral, things like this. Before I get too far off track here, talking about, I did mention a few minutes ago, it was like the 4K on this is insane. This looks so good. There are parts of this that are almost like 3D quality with how the image just jumps right out at you. I swear to God, it's like at the very beginning of the movie, you see, there's like this kind of high up shot and you see the leaves on the trees and it's almost like those leaves are about ready to fly in your face. It's so vivid. It's so in your face. The 4K on this is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. No digital cleanup here. There is, because this movie is from, back from the mid to late 80s, so yeah, there's definitely some film grain in there. But make no mistake about it, this movie looks stunning. Like, this is what you want from a 4K release. The picture quality is good. You see right there, like the red on his jacket, it's like the red just really is like blaringly bright. Some of the colors are so vivid, so sharp. And at the beginning of the movie, it takes place around Christmas time, and you see Christmas decorations and, Christmas lights and things like that. And it's like, my God, it definitely stands out. I have zero complaint. I mean, I know, we've all talked about, anybody who's been a movie collector and stuff, we've all talked about, Kino Lorber, sometimes their transfers can be hit and miss. This one knocks it out of the ballpark. This looks so gorgeous. It looks stunning. The sound is amazing as well. You got Dolby Vision on here, HDR Dolby Vision Masters, and, just so good, and it's a 4K scan, 35 millimeter original camera negative. The only thing that I think is that I'm just bummed out about is, like, I wish that, I wish that they hadn't slept on this movie. Well, I'm not blaming Kino Lorber. I mean more like Paramount, because this movie, you can see, it's released from Paramount. In case you didn't get to see it. But I'm just hating the fact that Paramount kind of buried this movie and it just kind of stayed that way for a long, long time, because it would have been great to get, like get Friedkin to do a commentary on it. He would have done it. I mean, he's done commentaries for plenty of his other movies. Can't see why he wouldn't do a commentary for this one. I'm sure he would have. I mean, it's great that we got interview with Alex MacArthur. Like it would have been nice if we could have got some of the other interviews, maybe like, an interview with Michael Biehn, something like that. If there were like some deleted scenes or whatever else, a making up something, it would have been nice. And I'm not crapping on the fact that we got a commentary by two film historians. I'm just saying, like some interviews with Friedkin and a commentary is like that's the big thing that's missing from here. If it had that, I would have said this is an absolutely perfect edition. But it's totally worth it. It's totally worth buying it for. Right now it's retailing for about $29.99. I know I could have waited. This would have gone down and would have been able to get a lot cheaper in a sale down the road. But this was an instance where I wanted this movie. I just so badly wanted to see it again and to have it again and everything else. This is just a movie I always remember seeing. It's very bleak. It's very gruesome. You're not going to feel comfortable when you watch this movie. You are going to feel like this is a movie. You get done watching this, you feel like you need a long shower afterwards. You feel dirty after watching this, but it's brilliantly done. Friedkin, a master. There are some scenes though where they're doing like an MRI scan and then what was it? I think it's a CAT scan and stuff. It definitely because it looks very methodical and stuff. Kind of the way like the scene from The Exorcist where they're doing, I forget what it's called, but the examination on Reagan. The scene that really makes everybody tense and nervous, and is the medical scene from The Exorcist. You get something like that similar in this movie when they're doing like MRI on him and stuff like that. So yeah, you definitely get kind of a tiny feel of Exorcist in here, but oh man. But yeah, anyway, going back to what is, like Charles Reese is this murderer, is killing people, drinking their blood. Michael Biehn is the prosecuting attorney who's out to get him. And so then the whole thing becomes about, is Reese insane? Can he be proven to be legally insane? Does he deserve the death penalty? Does he deserve to be put in jail for the rest of his life? What's the story there? And, the movie raises questions, and tries to put you in a situation where, what would you do? How do you determine these things? How do you determine if somebody who kills somebody, do they deserve the death penalty? Do they deserve to be, do they need to be treated and everything? And, is Michael Biehn's character, is he jumping the gun? Because, he sees the grisly aftermath of Reese's crimes. And, at the beginning of the movie, his character starts off, he's very liberal. He's very much like, anti-death penalty. Violence is never the answer to violence and all that kind of stuff. But when he sees the aftermath of, Reese's crimes, and then he becomes very much almost like a vigilante. He wants this guy to pay, and then the story, is about, is he going down the dark road he shouldn't be going down? Wanting this guy to pay for his, the way that he wants him to pay for his crimes. And so there's, so there's kind of all that going. So there's very much, there's a lot to this movie. And I definitely recommend checking it out. If you're a fan of, kind of like true crime movies, if that kind of subject matter interests you, stories about serial killers and is the death penalty right? Is it wrong? All that kind of stuff, I would definitely recommend checking out Rampage. This movie is amazing and it's so good to finally have it again. And, it's really nice to see, an alternative cut, which I never even knew existed until this came out. I didn't even know there was such a thing, so that to me is definitely worth buying the 4K for it. And that's the beautiful part of it too, is both cuts are on the 4K and on the Blu-ray. So that's what I love about this. This is a great addition. And I don't know if, at some point, some other, I don't know if, some other, film company is going to I don't know if Arrow would ever get a hold of this and do their version of it, or Imprint or somebody else. I'm not sure. I mean, you never know. Time will tell. But you know what? If this is as good as it's ever going to get, I'm thrilled. I'm just so happy to have it again, to have it in my library, to be able to, see it again and enjoy it again, and just to have it, to finally have it, I definitely recommend picking it. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into, very dark, movies that, like raises more questions than answers, stuff, movies that make you think, then yeah, Rampage is definitely going to be a movie you're going to want to check out. It's not, I know, like I said, it just looks like it's one of these kind of like typical, kind of like almost, yeah. I mean, I get that this is the original poster art and stuff like that, and in modern America, the boy next door isn't what he appears to be, Like, that's the thing, the advertising is not really doing this movie any favors. That may be one of the problems, that this movie had, and being controversial, was that I think people were kind of going into this expecting kind of like an almost like, I don't know, like 10 to Midnight, Charles Bronson kind of, like detective, crime thriller or something like that. I think that's kind of what that's what it kind of looks like they tried to sell this as. Or maybe even, with the red eyes, they figure, well, it's William Friedkin, so maybe we can do kind of like an Exorcist thing, it really doesn't feel like this is doing the movie itself any justice, The movie really needs to be seen, though, and like I said, I think you're going to be pretty surprised, and you're going to be, you're going to be shocked when you see the kind of movie you're going to get out of this. But it's a very well-made film. It's well-written, very well acted. Everybody does a great job, and and get this on 4K. I mean, I understand if you want to wait for a sale, that's fine, but I do encourage people to see this movie, and I definitely do encourage this on 4K. And I've there have been times I've said Kino Lorber's done great work. There are times I wasn't very impressed at all with some of the stuff Kino Lorber's done, but this is one time Kino Lorber has really, really just graced us all, with this wonderful edition, and I love it. So, yeah, I think I've said just about everything I could say about this, but I am so happy to finally own this movie I've seen, many, many times, and to finally own it and to have different cuts of it and to really kind of appreciate it more than I did watching it back then, and to see to see that this movie, really has more to it than meets the eye. So, I would definitely say, yeah, Rampage by William Friedkin. Check it out. Really good flick. And real quick before you go, if you don't mind, I got one other thing I'd like to show you. This is not the Umbrella release. I got this off of Amazon because, like, right now everybody knows, everybody knows the whole story about Scream Factory is selling a lot of their stuff, and dirt cheap prices and everything else. And this is one I've been meaning to get around to, hadn't yet. And it dropped down to like $8.99. Had to jump on it. The reason why I say it's not the Umbrella edition is because when it shipped, good old Amazon, the case wasn't exactly in the best condition, and I had to put it in another case, and the case that I put it in looks like the ones you would get from Umbrella. But anyway, so it's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Yeah. I am looking forward to seeing this movie because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey really did not win a lot of people over. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people thought it was garbage. Honestly, I had some fun with it. I just thought it was schlocky and everything else. And I actually had a fun time with it. And I'm really actually looking forward to seeing this sequel. I haven't watched it yet. But yeah. But anyway, you could see like right there. See where it says Scream Factory right there? Or, there you go. Right there. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's this one here. I don't know. I probably should have waited and spent the extra money for the Umbrella, because this has no bonus features from the looks of it. Yeah, this looks pretty bare bones. But, I mean, for $8.99, but yeah, I've been meaning to get around to picking this up and everything. But when I got it, yeah, it's just, the case was in the best shape, and this is what I had laying around, so I popped it in here, but there you go. So, but yeah, yeah, that's going to be another thing. If you guys are interested, that's the inside there. I'm not entirely sure who those characters are supposed to be, but if you guys are interested, yeah, since I heard about the big sale, and all that stuff, the controversy surrounding Scream Factory, Shout Factory right now, I went in and I looked and I put in a pretty good size order, and so yeah, when that comes in, I'll show you everything I got because I shelled out quite a bit of money, but I know some people out there would be like, dude, really? You shelled out all that money for Scream Factory stuff? I got some good stuff, okay? Well, some of us, rebuy a couple of things I need to upgrade anyway, but anyway, so yeah, so, look forward to checking this out. I'm definitely not expecting like, Gone with the Wind or, anything like that. I'm not expecting Raging Bull or anything out of this movie, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. I did actually have some fun with the first movie. Just some good schlocky moments and everything else. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, when I get the other stuff in from Scream Factory and everything, I'll definitely do like an unboxing and show you guys what I got. But anyway, so yeah, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, $8.99 plus tax. So I can't really complain about that. Got a good deal on it. Finally got it so I could check it out, add it to the library. But this is the real winner today. It's William Friedkin's Rampage. Great movie. Beautiful 4K. Definitely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So happy to get this. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a more extravagant version down the road, but if this is it, I'm happy. I can live with this. So that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch any of this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you please leave it a like? Maybe, comment, share the video. Yeah, subscribe if you already had to. I would appreciate any of it. And again, thank you for taking the time. So take care, everybody. Learn to love your movie library. Have a good night. See you all later.